Today we have with us the RJ, a former RJ, a singer, a dubbing artist, and more than that, a CMO of Switchbox. You've been an RJ for a long time. You've been a singer. You've been a dubbing artist. So it's all about your voice. Your profession is all about your voice. So when did you come to the realization that your voice can be a profession?
Right. First of all, thank you so much, Nitin, for having me on your podcast. And it's
So
lovely connecting with you. So, about my voice. So, when I was growing up itself, when I was in school, I used to be part of a lot of, music competitions. And I also learned Carnatic music while I was growing up. So when I was in my school times itself, a lot of people used to tell me that you have a good voice, you should do something about it and everything. But I never really took it seriously. I went on to doing my school and college, and I was thinking I'll do engineering and then figure out stuff. But life had different plans for me. I was doing mathematics after my 12th standard, BSc mathematics. 2 years into the course, I understood that this is definitely not my thing, and I definitely have to, get out of it. So I discontinued BSc mathematics and I went and joined journalism. And I was completely exposed to a different world altogether when I went and joined journalism. Is when I got to know about media, entertainment, a lot of things. And even when I was there, I never thought that radio would be my thing again, because a lot of people again used to tell me, you have a good voice, you should, go ahead and do radio. When I was doing my journalism, I actually went and interned in different forms of media, including television, advertising, PR, and newspaper and everything, and except radio. I don't know why I never thought like radio was my thing, but like I said, universe had its plan, and I ended up in radio, and I joined radio as a music manager. And then again, my boss over there told me that you have a good voice, I think you should try and become an RJ. Of course, there was a lot of training that went behind it. I also produced the night show for quite some time, for a year and a half, and then they gave me a show. And of course, voice is definitely a very powerful thing. And I realized that when I started my own show, when I was able to express my things, my emotions, my voice to voice out a lot of things that was uh, told to me from the people in the society. So of course, yeah, it's definitely a powerful thing, and I think I'm using it in the right way as days go by.
So, ma'am, you've been an RJ for a long time. So you get to meet a lot of people. So how has
Right.
that changed your perception?
Of course, yeah. Being not only being an RJ, being in any industry, we all get to meet a lot of people. But being an RJ, of course, you get to meet a lot of people from different industries, because you're also interviewing people from the different industries. My perspective has I think it has changed from the time I joined radio, definitely, because again, journalism, entertainment itself is a very, very new medium to me when I joined. And, going there, meeting different people and getting to know them personally. Like, when you have seen celebrities on screen, you've seen all these big people on different platforms, and you're sitting in the studio talking to them, you definitely get a different perspective. And you also think, oh, this is what we thought this person is, but this person is not like that. When we see them on screen, we think, oh, I think this person has a lot of attitude and everything. But when they come to the studio, when we are interviewing them, they're actually very friendly, they are very down to earth. So of course, a little bit of perspective changes happens there. Not a lot, I would say.
Okay. So you've been in the industry for a long time. You've conducted workshops on RJ. You've been doing
Yeah.
contact. So how was the response for the particular workshop? And
Yeah, so the radio workshops, I did two workshops actually. So I recently quit radio to do Swatchbox, that we will come to very soon. So the radio workshop, the feedback has been great. Like it was just a very random idea. I was just sitting at home, of course, quarantine, lockdown. You're at home, you have nothing much to do, and I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of messages from different people asking, how do I become an RJ? I want to become an RJ. So a lot of DMs like that from different people, from different age groups, right, from school, college, and even like people who are 40 and above. I've gotten messages from people from that age group. So I thought, I do get a lot of DMs. Why not actually conduct a workshop that will be helpful for people to, in some way or the other, in helping them reach their goal in some way or the other. So that's how I came up with the workshop concept. And the feedback has been great. It's been great. So I had two workshops. After that, I want to do more, but I haven't gotten time to actually sit and do it. I am getting enquiries asking when is your next workshop and everything, because I couldn't accommodate more than 30 people, because if you go more than 30 people, you can't really, concentrate on each and every one. And I had like a very interactive session, both the workshops. And it was basically like a one-on-one interaction, but again, there are people. So I wanted less number of people. I didn't want to accommodate a lot of people. So I had only two workshops. The first one I had around 30. The second one again had around 20 to 25 people. But yes, the feedback definitely has been great.
Been interviewing Alia, but we have interviewed Sunil Shetty. So we have interviewed a lot of stars. So during the process of interviewing a lot of stars, what is that one thing that you avoid while interviewing them?
Avoid, is it? Okay. Uh, um, what I usually avoid, basically, before I interview anybody, I make sure that I do my research, because that is very important. Like, you don't want to end up asking stupid questions to people that we are interviewing. So I do my research, but one thing that I usually avoid, a lot of people, dig in deep. I usually avoid is getting into their personal zone, because when you are interviewing celebrities, there are a lot of, gossip that's going around. There's a lot of yellow journalism that is out there, and you can always tap into that and ask them questions and dig in deep and make them uncomfortable. But I always like to keep it little, casual, and not get in too deep about their personal life. So that's what I avoid. Me as a person, I wouldn't do it.
There are a lot of people who want to be an RJ, who are pursuing to that particular career, but they don't know where to start it from. So what's that one tip of advice that you want to give to those people who...
Okay, I've been talking about this on my workshops as well, and I want to I'm glad I have this platform to talk about it again. So one thing that I want to tell everyone who wants to become an RJ. So an RJ, like when you hear radio jockey, it's a very, glamorous, a very like, okay, I want to become an RJ, I want to be there, I want to go to a radio station, I want to do all of this. All these things are there in their head. But to become an RJ, let me tell you, it is very, very difficult. It is not at all easy. So I'm being very honest here. I'm being very blunt here. It's not easy. And there are a lot of people who are interning in a radio station, especially when there is a media industry. There's a lot of people who are interning there, because media industry in itself is very glamorous and people want to be a part of it. So, becoming an RJ is not so easy. But one advice that I want to give to all the people who are aspiring radio jockeys is, we are so glad that we have something like a podcast, right? Like what you're doing right now. If you have talent, if you want to do something, we have a lot of platforms like Spotify, Apple Music. There's a lot of podcast platforms, SoundCloud. You take anything, and there's no restrictions. You have content, you have the talent, you have the thirst to become something. Go ahead and do it. Don't wait for a radio station to come and take you in, or like don't be fixed in that I want to work only in a radio station. If you have the thirst for it, if you want to become a person who wants to voice their opinions, use these platforms. Be a podcaster. That is better for now. And also, let me tell you, podcast is the next big thing. So yes, do that.
You've been a dubbing artist for a long time now. So tell us more about your one dubbing projects that are coming up. And two, if you want to be a dubbing artist, what is that one bit of advice that you want to give to those people who aspire to be a dubbing artist?
Okay, so because I've been in radio again, there's been a lot of voiceover opportunities. You'll be voicing as different characters, different voiceovers keep coming, because that's again in the radio station. But my first dubbing artist experience was for this web series on Amazon Prime called Mirzapur. So for that, I was the voice of the leading lady. That was my first ever dubbing artist experience. I was pretty nervous for sure. I was very nervous when I went there. I went for the voice test actually. I went for the voice test and I got through, and they called me and they said, you got selected and you're going to be the voice of it. I was pretty excited. So that was my first experience. And apart from that, I have dubbed for 2 Tamil movies so far. One is Gypsy, the Tamil movie. It's directed by Raj Murugan sir, and also Jiva is the lead in the movie, and I am the voice of the leading lady. And the second movie is Harish Kalyan's movie called Dhanusarasi Neyarkale அப்படின்ற ஒரு படம் வந்தது. அந்த படத்துல சஞ்சய் பாரதி அப்படின்றவர் தான் வந்து டைரக்ட் பண்ணிருக்காரு, and I was the voice of Reba John. So she I was the voice of her. So far these are the dubbing experiences that I've had. After that, of course, pandemic happened. So we all are sitting at home. Let's see what happens next. And artist again, it works. It's not very easy to just go there and become one. Again, a lot of contacts, a lot of experience, and I think at the right time, right things at the right time.
Yeah.
I think it just happens like that. Until then, if you have the voice for it, again, like I said, do podcasts, put your voice out there, make a profile, make a reel, put all your voice. What are the kind of voices that you can do? And there's a lot of voiceover opportunities out there, right? SoundCloud, you can see, and there's also like a Facebook group with voiceover people coming together, and they always put out opportunities out there. So you can keep doing all of that, and I'm sure people will recognize this somewhere, and they'll call you for it.
So you've been a YouTuber now. You've been collaborating with a lot of people, and so one thing is also Machi and
Right.
Straight Out
Right.
Office from it. So how's your
Right.
experience on Straight Out Office?
That was literally my first ever acting experience. So I was pretty nervous when I got called for it, and it was definitely it was good. I was actually very scared when I went for the first day shoot, but the people over there, the Awesome Machi team itself is damn chill. They are very, very fun-loving people. Before going, I kept asking them for the script. Please send me the script because I want to be ready for it and stuff. They were like, no, you come to the set, we'll be fine and everything. So I went there and like they said, it actually was fun. Like I didn't even feel like, like I had to put so much effort or anything. It was a good experience, and Awesome Machi team they are a wonderful team to work with actually.
One person you collaborated with is RJ Syed, and
Yes.
you've been an inspiration for a lot of people now. And
Right.
are there any other collaboration coming soon?
Yes, of course. And Syed is a very good friend of mine. Syed and I have worked together for 4-5 years. We both were radio jockeys in the same radio station, so we know each other for a long time. We go a long way back. Yeah, so that was, we have more podcasts coming though. Again, pandemic, lockdown, nothing has happened. Apart from that, we also did that Chill Corona song that you had mentioned, Leah. That song is also a collaboration. Another interesting collaboration is going to be out this week, actually, by this weekend. Collaborating with this friend of mine. And he's also a cinematographer of this movie called Surarai Potra, Niket Bomi. And we have collaborated, me, Niket, and another friend of mine called Sham. He's written it. And me along with my sister. So it's going to be a mood piece. It's going to be like a 4-minute mood piece. Watch out for it. It's going to be a good video. So the collaboration, yes, that is the next collaboration that I'm doing. Others I can't talk about yet.
Okay. You're the chief marketing officer for Switchbox. So I've seen the Switchbox.
Actually, I'm the co-founder and chief marketing officer. Yeah.
Okay. So the news article right now on Indian Express regarding Switchbox. So
yeah.
Can you give a bit more information about what the Switchbox was and what the idea of it is?
Of course. So Switchbox is definitely the brainchild of two of my friends, Sriram and Sham. They both are very good friends of mine, and they had this idea when the whole pandemic started. How exactly can we keep our families and friends safe? That was the initial idea. And then they came up with this thing called a UVC light technology that can actually, sanitize things, that can actually kill coronavirus and all the different types of bacteria and viruses. So that was the idea that's how it all started. And then I did not think it will go on to become such a big thing. But now that even I'm on board, so 3 of us have come together, and we have brought out the product now. The product is all ready to, it is already being sold in the market. So it's actually a great product. It's a need of the hour, I would say. And it's going to be a product that is going to be in every household, every restaurant, every sport stadiums, basically everywhere, because we don't know till when the pandemic is going to be there. And even after the pandemic, this is something, because we all are right now, we all are paranoid about everything, right? We go out and we come back and we want to sanitize everything, right from our wallets to keys and our clothes and everything. So this Switchbox is something where we can actually sanitize anything in like 3 to 10 minutes. It uses a UVC light technology, and we also have variants of 30 liters, 60 liters, and we are also coming up with 15 liters for students and everyone. So basically, it can sanitize anything, right from masks and your PPE suits and your food, Swiggy deliveries and groceries and everything in 3 to 10 minutes. And it's going to be the product for during the pandemic. And yes, you should check it out.
After all these things, like doing the search box, the YouTube channel, the RJ, and all these things, does the whole
Right.
job of meeting new people, creating new things, does that get overwhelming?
I love doing what I'm doing. So no complaints about that. But definitely, we all are human beings at the end of the day. And sometimes there are days where it gets all overwhelming. It's like, oh, too much is happening. I need some time to myself. Those days are definitely there, but I can't really complain. I like what I'm doing, and I'm grateful for that.
So, what is that one thing that, apart from all these things that you're doing, that interests you? Like, apart from singing, dubbing, the kind of workshops that you're carrying on, what is that one particular thing that relaxes you from?
The thing is, I'm doing everything that I like already. Like singing is something that I do that really sparks that, that's kind of an energy in me. Like even if I am just chilling at home, I just randomly sing and put it on Instagram. And singing is something that's very close to my heart. And also music, listening to music, and I'm open to listening to different kinds of genre. It's not like I'm very particular about this is the only genre I listen to. It's not like that. I like exploring different kinds of music. I think that's one thing that I like to do when I'm not doing anything else. And I love it when my friends introduce me to new music, because music is huge. Like a certain kind of music, and a few people come and they show me, okay, what, have you listened to this is something great, and you listen to that and you're mind blown. You're like, I haven't listened to something like this. So yeah, exploring music, I would say.
Okay, so who has been the biggest supporter during the whole time, like for the long years that you've been running through? Who has been your biggest supporter?
My biggest supporter definitely are my family and my friends, man. Like I can't really say this one person is my supporter. I'm so grateful that I have a great support system. Like my friends and my family, both of them are very important to me. And they've always been there, like during my successful times, during my low times, during the times where I was thinking, what am I doing with my life? Like I said before, we all are human beings, and when we tend to have low days. So yes, my mom, dad, and my sister and my friends who have always been there. So yes, like if you've seen, like I've been collaborating with all my friends only, and they've always been there. And yes, they are my biggest support system. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. All the best for your coming projects and great initiatives. What's a really great initiative, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you so much, Nitin. It was lovely connecting with you. And all the best for your podcast. Keep doing a lot of them. And like I said again, podcast is the next big thing, is the big thing. So keep doing it. And all the best to you too.
Thank you. Thank you.